KFC. So we're going to bring in Jane Slater. She is in New Orleans today, and there you're taking a look at it right now. Jackson Square. I've never been to New Orleans, so I'm not familiar with the area.
You, of all people?
Can you believe it?
You, of all people, has never been to New Orleans?
No, Jane, I want to join you there right now, so I'm glad we can join each other like this. What's up? What's going on right now with the Saints and these two teams as they prepare to see each other tomorrow night, Sunday night?
I'm actually a little shocked. I'm with the group that you, of all people, have not been here. When you come, we'll go ahead and go to Cafe Du Monde, which is right next to me, and we'll get you some powdered beignets. But ahead of that game, there are a ton of Dallas Cowboys fans. I was on that 6 a.m. flight yesterday getting here, and even as I'm just here at 7, it's 8 o'clock in the morning here in New Orleans, you're seeing the Cowboys fans on the street. There's a lot of excitement surrounding this game this weekend, and especially when you consider that Teddy Bridgewater is starting at quarterback for the Saints. Now, head coach Sean Payton had a lot of praise for his quarterback. He said he really liked his coolness in that game. You know, the fact that he settled in on the road against Seattle. And, of course, it's going to be a different scenario when you consider their home in the Dome. They do so well in that environment, and Teddy talked to me about that even on Friday. But with that being said, I did go to Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott this week, and I asked him, you know, are you seeing any similarities? You once filled in for a guy like Tony Romo, a guy with a storied history, and were basically called upon to step up, and he sort of dismissed this idea of sympathize, which was the word I used. He said, you know what, when you've got the keys to the car, you don't care if you've got it for a week or for the rest of your career. The key is, what do I do now? And so that's going to be Teddy Bridgewater's task against the Cowboys on Sunday night. Should be a good one.
Yeah, Jane, we saw Teddy manage the game up in Seattle, and they did get the win, so we'll see if they can do it again this week, Jane. You know what? Sometime we're going to go to New Orleans together. It's going to be great. So we'll see two of the best tandems in the league Sunday night. Zeke, Elliot, Amari Cooper for the Cowboys, and then you have Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas for the Saints. Yeah, look at those stats. Since Cooper joined the team last season, Dallas taking the edge there in scrimmage yards and touchdowns. So you have dynamic playmakers really on both sides of this offense. So which one is more difficult to defend? Which duo?
Oh, which duo? I mean, both of these guys, I don't think you can go wrong with either one, quite frankly. You have Zeke, he's more of a hammer. He's more of a guy that can carry the ball 30 times a game if you need him. And then you can play action and have Amari Cooper, a route runner, all of those types of things. But for me, it's got to be Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. I mean, just for me personally. With the way that Alvin Kamara carried this team last week, I think he made the entire Seahawks defense miss. I think he forced 11 missed tackles in that game. And to have a running back that you can lean on, not just in the run game, but also in the passing game, you can count on this guy to make plays. Like, that's unusual, and I think when this kid gets an opportunity to get paid, he will reset the running back market. I mean, he's the future of the running back position, being able to run in between the tackles. It seems like he never really takes a big hit, which is surprising to me, being how small he seems on tape. But Alvin Kamara, man, he's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm saying Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas too. I'm going to say probably more difficult to contain is probably Zeke and Amari Cooper. But I think in this matchup, in that dome, those two dudes going to be rolling, man. The way they use Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara is special because everyone knows they're getting the ball. And that's the thing. Like, even I remember playing against these guys, and we knew Alvin Kamara was getting the ball. We knew what plays they like to run. But the way Sean Payton disguises things and switches things up, and he'll show you one play, run a completely different play off of that, and just kind of counter what he just did. You know, to me, it's the way in which Sean Payton uses those guys, and in that dome, it's hard to play.
I don't disagree with that. I don't. The fact that the game is there, if it's a situational type thing, I would say that yes, look out for the Saints in this spot. Cowboys going on the road here, kind of like last year when these teams played. It was the reverse scenario. All of a sudden, the Saints were sputtering down in Texas. But in a vacuum, I'll say give me Zeke and Amari, and I can't get the first play of the season out of my head because I want to see this one because I'm looking at the Giants defense and the way they reacted. Everybody got to respect that, on their toes, and then the Fred Flintstone as they try to pivot and turn back, and then watch the cornerback on the outside. He's got to turn to respect the deep. I mean, look at all the things you have to respect here. It just creates so much room, and now you've got Kellen Moore finally realizing how to use these guys right now. So I still think with Zeke, you called them what? The hammer? You got to come downhill, and you got to get there fast, and you got to be coming with a head of steam. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble when you run into him.
Especially when you take into consideration that the Saints rushing defense has struggled. They've been one of the worst this entire season. 134.3 rushing yards per game they're allowing.
Not
and Ezekiel Elliott, it's almost like he's got the rust off now, that like training camp rust, because he didn't really go through training camp. So the last 2 games, they have been feeding him.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, we're approaching the end of the first quarter of the season. This is the end of Ezekiel Elliott's preseason. It's about time for him to start getting rolling right now.
And you mentioned that game last year. What was it, week 13, I think, Thursday Night Football.
The
Saints had won 10 straight games, and then the Cowboys came in, and that was it. So
Shut it down.
Ended it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I really do believe you're going to see it. Now, the only thing is, New Orleans played a really physical game last week. That defense came to play last week. They knew they did because it's the first game without Drew Brees. Can you keep that up for another week here? Can you keep that level of intensity? A lot of times that's hard to do. That's my only question about the Saints defense here. But I think they're going to show up and they're going to play.
Yeah, and I feel like both teams sort of started slow in the first half in those games. So you saw sort of different guys stepping up, special teams and defense scoring in that first half.
Special teams.
Yeah, that was a big deal there. All right, so we have Teddy Bridgewater. Look, he looked a lot more comfortable, obviously, in his first start compared to last week last week he looked a lot more comfortable.
They game plan for him.
Yeah,
They knew he was going to play.
That really helps. Over 70% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, passer rating over 112. So they just need him to kind of manage the game. Doesn't have to be a
He's got to push the
superhero
ball
out
downfield
there.
just a little bit.
He
It's
has to
only
take
6
shots.
yards per attempt. That's 37th in the National
And
Football
Cowboys are going to make him prove that they can do that. Look for them to really get up front, load the box to defend Alvin Kamara. But we got to go to break.